Okay. So I was born and raised in South Africa. I grew up in a small town in the middle of South Africa called Hartswater, which is a big farming community. Not a lot of people. Uh, you know, family of, I guess, two sisters. So mom, dad, and two sisters. So five people in the family. Um, from there, just after I finished high school, I did some studying in South Africa and then decided to, move to a different country. I looked at a few different countries. And then me and my boyfriend at the time, high school sweethearts, he moved to Canada, and then I moved to Canada as well. And that's kind of where I guess the biggest part of the journey started, is leaving everything and everyone behind and venturing out in the big world out there, and started, continuing some studies in Canada. Um, I've always loved business. Even as a kid, I remember playing with my sisters and they got frustrated with me for not wanting to play Barbies or, other games with them. I wanted to play business. That was always been part of my kind of favorite things to do. I enjoyed, coming up with ideas, presenting new products, all of these kind of different things as a kid. So I started in Canada. I did a few inside sales style and sales support style roles, and thinking that maybe I want to go into sales. And then I started studying. Even when I was at Sheridan here in Canada, I did accounting, I did finance, I did some marketing, but continued on the sales, inside sales, sales support style roles, and then. From there on, I went to the Canadian Marketing Association, and I went and I did, certifications through the Canadian Marketing Association. And that's, I think, where I really started to find my passion in the marketing side. I've always loved psychology. And then I found that marketing is kind of that business and psychology side together. And that's how I kind of got into the marketing space. My journey into the specific in the preclinical research and imaging space started in around 2003 when I joined Visual Sonics at the time. We're a small company growing. That's kind of where my passion for the preclinical research and the medical field started in marketing. It's a very diverse field. It is challenging, it is complicated. There's science, there's medicine, and there's a lot of challenges that comes with it, from a product positioning piece. And I find that exciting, the challenge and the chase on that side. I find that exciting to do that.
Yeah, very wonderful. Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at Scintica and one of the most significant achievements that you have made at the firm?
Yes, so I started kind of in the midst of COVID with Scintica, which in itself was a a challenging time. I mean, for everybody, that was a good kind of time to go through. So with this two biggest challenges with Scintica, I want to say an achievement with Scintica was coming into a company beforehand. Most of my career, I worked for a single modality company, if I can call it that, which means we manufactured a product or a group of products under one single brand that we had to, promote. At Scintica, I started with coming in, and we don't manufacture anything. We're a reseller or distributor, kind of various products, various brands. So the challenge there became, how do I overcome this, where I have multiple brands that I need to present? I need to launch new products under the Scintica brand, but also because we help companies commercialize. That is part of what we do, bring a product to market, also giving that product its brand, but also making sure that Scintica has a brand to go along with it. And that I saw as a challenge. It got me excited. We were in COVID times. There were no conferences, no trade shows, no in-person meetings. So everything digital became even so much more, the new drive in marketing. Like, what can you do that's the newest cutting edge piece digitally to get in front of people? And that was at Scintica is the achievement of bringing multiple brands to market and presenting that, and also making sure that the consumer at the end receives the right message. We have so many products, but we have so many applications and so many researchers that we need to target, everybody in their own unique bucket. And from that, you need to bring messaging. You need to tailor your content. You need to make sure that when I put that information in front of that, consumer that's going to receive that content, that's the appropriate content, that will help them solve their problem. And so at Scintica, that was the biggest challenge. And I think we've been very successful so far in making sure that the appropriate brand plus the appropriate product solving the appropriate need for the customer gets in front of them while doing new product launches, bringing new brands to market, and help companies commercialize further.
Right. Amazing. So I love to learn more about your strategies, your approach to market-specific marketing. So what role does data and analytics play in your management making process for such marketing campaigns or projects that you've undertaken in the past?
Yes, so because we have such a diverse market that's out there and diverse research areas, diverse user base, if I can call them that, you have to tailor each, message or each campaign or strategy very specifically. So if I can use an example, if you go after a cardiovascular researcher, my messaging, my content needs to be very different from the oncologist or the cancer researcher that's out there. And the only way to really know if what I'm doing is the right content, number one, we work with scientists. We make sure that our content is scientifically valid. So telling them about the science, you can have a product with features, but in medical and medical research, it's the science and the data, scientific data, that is what's helping them convince them that this is the product for them. So by using specific tailored scientific content, not necessarily a product feature, we can say this is a product feature, but scientifically, this is why it is important. And here are some publications to support that. Here's the science to support that. We take that approach. And then when we do campaigns and we do the outreach, taking the data, the feedback, I can put all the data out there. If it's not being consumed and getting in front of the right person, my content is not going to be effective. So I have to make sure that when we do a campaign, that content was effective. Did my cardiovascular piece content do what I needed to do? Did I reach the right people? Number one, I need the data back for that. Number two, was it the right content for them to consume? How do I know that? What's happening on the website? What's happening to our inquiries? What's happening to our sales funnel? So anything that we do, that data and that feedback at the end of the day is critical in tweaking and designing the next campaign. Doing one campaign, analyzing it. Okay, yes, this worked. No, this didn't work. Okay, we need to tweak the content. Oh no, you know what? Our target audience was not the right audience. We need to tweak our audience. Or the type of content. Our target audience demographics is starting from people in their mid-20s to people in their 80s and older. So we're going from audience people that likes to have a printed piece of paper that wants to read every single sentence to people that, oh yes, okay, you can email me a PDF, to the younger people that wants a video or a webinar, to, oh, I want a 5-minute TikTok video, that's it. So we really have to tailor our content based on, a very wide range of, demographics, where people are, how they consume the content, how they grew up. So all of that we make our decisions based on the data and the analytics that we get back at the end. It's more than just a gut feel. The data needs to drive that specific pieces. Yes.
Wow, that's really wonderful. And it sounds like you put in a lot of work and efforts and driving a lot of collaboration between the team and the departments. So here I'd love to understand how you raise collaboration within your marketing team to assure that innovative ideas are brought into fruition.
Yeah, so how do we get those? So understanding, I think, from our marketing team, um, enabling them, making sure that they do, and also enabling them to get in touch with the on our own internal in the company with scientists that understands the biological need. And in this specific scenario for us, at the end of the day, we are trying to reach a consumer that has a biological need. We need to solve their biological need. We need to solve their problem. But to know what problem they have, we need to talk to someone that has been in their shoes. So going after that specific message, and enabling them to collaborate, have meetings, have one-on-ones with them, being able to sit around a table and do some brainstorming, coming up with creative ideas, speaking to scientists and making sure that they, what would get their attention. Everybody's busy. We all get hundreds of emails a day. We all have social media that scrolls by, and you have split seconds these days to get their attention. Talking, enabling from a marketing side, the team to connect with the end user, and see where they are, where do they consume content, and what triggers their interest is critical to be able to be successful. Because if the marketing team can think, oh, this is a great idea, but at the end of the day, that's not what the scientist or the researcher or doctor needs, it's not going to be, it's great that I have a need, or I find this interesting. It might not be the same as the person next to me. And because of that, we do have diverse ways of people. Everybody has their own unique personality. The marketing team, we try to diversify on all of those fronts, making sure we can cover all the various bases, specific, various keywords and content to reach the consumers. Yes.
Yeah, that's very fascinating to learn how you foster collaboration between different departments and understanding, putting yourselves in the shoes of the customers themselves to drive the needs and tailor the messages to different age groups, as you mentioned. And
also just to add to that, the other part too is working with sales and product managers. I think the key part here is marketing is great as one piece, but marketing at the end of the day in a brand of a company is every single person in a company. And I think a lot of people forget that. People think of marketing and a brand as just a logo or maybe your font style that you use, but it really is every aspect. It's from the first time someone answers the phone when they call in to the time where our technical support specialists, help a customer at the end. When we ship and deliver a product at the end, all of that is part of the company's brand and who we are, and making sure that marketing, relays that message, that feeling and that brand is important, and allowing them to, and even from a marketing side, making sure that sales are happy. Connecting with the sales team. What do they need? They are the people that talk to their customers every single day. They get all of that feedback. They know the customers tell them what works, what doesn't work. So it is important to work with sales. And then even from a product management and product development piece is taking that back then to the product team, letting them know that, yes, when we design a product, this is important and these features are important to have in products. This is the need and feedback that we get back from the market and from the customers.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. So you touched on this point a little bit back. You mentioned about how technologies has changed, how the world, how consumers are changing their behavior. So in your opinion, what challenges you faced in the marketing field, and what are some of the implementation that you have adopted to overcome these challenges?
Yes, so there's so much content. I forget, I was reading some updated data the other day on, if we're going back 20 years, the amount of information as a person we had access to day to day. Where did we consume? How did I consume advertising? How did I become aware of new products? Today, doesn't matter where I turn my head, there's access to a new product that they advertise. So I can look on my phone, I can open my email, I can open my browser, I can walk down the street, I can walk in a mall or a train station, I can walk, past a window. There's all these forms of messaging. And that is challenging, because if you think of it, having your product stand out amongst all of these other pieces of information, and these are all various platforms. If you go digitally only, we have so much information coming into our inboxes. You're sitting there, you have your email, you have a chat program going, you have a phone that's ringing, you have a online webinar, you have a meeting. There's social media is another piece. So you have so much content, and you need to make sure, and that is a challenge from a marketing perspective. Where do you go? How do you make sure that if you go back a few years, email was the thing. We were all in the email. Now we have all these rules and regulations. There's GDPR, Canada's doing, the US is coming up with their own, privacy laws around email. So it becomes more and more challenging on making sure that your email gets on the inbox to the top. There's spam folders now. Most of the time, it ends up in a spam. Gmail, Google, Mail, Exchange, Apple, they've all put blocks in place, if I can use that inappropriate technical term, providing, open rates and clickbacks. We don't get that data anymore. So that kind of influences our analytics and data results. So yeah, how do we do that? We need to look at our website content. What is our traffic? Where does it go? Where do people talk to people? How do we overcome some of these challenges? I think it comes back to content, making sure that your content that you create is what the consumer or the end user at the end is what they need. Having the right content available at the right time for the right person when they have a very specific need is becoming critical more. What that means is you need to have so much more content out there. You have to be everywhere, because there are so many channels of consuming, and you might miss them because they might have scrolled on their social media 5 minutes ago, and that's when your post pop up, and it's not important right now. So are you on an ad somewhere on a website that they browse to? Did you send an email to them? Did you have a print ad in a journal publication? It's that continuous messaging that you need to have there, and being the top of mind for a consumer. Ironically, what we have found that's working very well right now, people are getting excited of receiving a piece of mail. So going back to the old school of putting a little letter in an envelope and sending them a letter in the mail, people are actually getting excited about that. And that we've had some success with, because we don't, if I go to my mailbox and I get my mail, there's stacks and stacks of, flyers and 2 or 3 letters. So when I get a letter, I'm very excited to open my letter, because this is who I don't get a letter anymore.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Even if you think about a greeting card or a birthday card, everything is a digital message or a gift. Gift that people send you. When I get a birthday card in the mail, I'm like, it's super exciting. So yeah, that's we found is another way of just a different, more relaxed way. People open their mail, they sit, and you have their attention right at that moment, in a more relaxed manner. Literally not part of all the emails in an inbox with hundreds of emails for the day.
Yeah, wow, that's very fascinating to learn, going old school.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, so you mentioned a very interesting point about how to balance between the creative aspects of marketing with the analytical side of performance measurement, to make sure that the contents you pushed out there are really matches the needs of the customers. So how do you, so from your perspective, how do you measure the customer satisfaction, and what steps do you take to improve it based on the feedback that you collected?
Yes, so that's an ever-changing task, I want to say, because customer feedback back in the day, people completed a survey, so this is the
Mm,
satisfaction we had. People don't have time to do surveys anymore. They don't have time to necessarily provide that feedback. For us, looking at feedback is we go to every source where we have a salesperson at the end. When they talk to a customer, how did the customer respond? What did they say? Did they provide any feedback? When we have technical support on site, what are the feedback that we get from that customer? When we are at a conference in a trade show booth, when we talk to people, those are all various ways of gathering all those pieces of content. Yes, we received your email. I'm stopping by a booth. Oh, yes, we saw that you were on social media. There was a LinkedIn post, or, there's all these various mechanisms.
mm,
Unfortunately, we don't have systems in place that can easily track that today. That's part of our growth plan over the next few years, is to get better systems in place on customer satisfaction. Um, what we do is obviously the actual feedback, verbal feedback from customers,
mm,
email responses when we do get the odd one here and there, when people provide some feedback. Oh, great email, great content. We track that. Another part of it would be is if we have a piece of content, how did it fare? Looking at the performance on social media, was there engagements in social media? Did they share? Did they like? From there on, did that content drive back to our website? What was
right.
the journey that they then followed on our website? Did they only stay on that page? Did they stay and leave? Then did they complete a form? Did they request more
Mm,
information? And based on all of that, we kind of draw some conclusions on the satisfaction. Yes, this content or data that we provided was relevant. People
mm,
enjoyed interacting with it. Therefore, it was successful. It's not, very scientific, but we don't
right.
have the very good software and platforms in there
Mm,
available just yet to use. But that would be, in an ideal world, something to capture all of that, so you can very in one click see the whole, success
mm.
of the campaign. Yes.
Yes, understood. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I only have one question left, and it's more on the advice piece. So as a very seasoned marketer in the industry for so long, so what advice would you give to aspiring marketers looking to make their mark in the competitive industry, like marketing field?
Advice. Wow. Let me think about that. Follow your passion. I think from marketing, and never stop learning. We talked a little bit about tools and mechanisms and techniques as
Mm,
changing. I mean, we didn't even touch on AI and
yeah.
the part that provides in marketing. I mean, there's a whole conversation we can have
Mm,
around that. Don't be scared of AI. People were very scared of AI. I think use AI. AI is there to support you
mm,
and help you successful in your content, in your creation, in doing data and analytics, helping you, drive better campaigns.
yeah.
So use AI. That is part of it. Uh, the other
Mm,
part from a marketing side of things, and we're all human.
yes.
When you are going after the marketing, space, or as your career form,
Mm,
always put yourself in the consumer's shoes.
yeah.
And to think of your product, think about the application. What are you doing? When are you doing it? Is this the right time? Is this the right content?
Mm,
Um, because when you think of it with your consumer viewpoint and not your own viewpoint, because there's a lot
right.
of things that for me, I'm trying to do an instruction video, learn how to do something at home on the, home
Mm,
renos, and
yep.
I would like to read the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't like the
Yep.
videos, because for me, I
Mm,
want to read it. That's how I
mm,
retain information. But younger crowds love a video. So make sure that
mm,
you're not biased by only your own personal views, but really at the end of the day, us as a marketing group or a marketing team, we are
mm,
there to provide the relevant information for the consumer. You are trying to solve a consumer's need, giving them a solution for a problem that they have. providing something that will be there to, provide for their need. So put your
Yeah.
consumer hat on, think like the consumer, feel like the consumer feels, and yeah, then just follow your passion and have fun and never stop learning. It's always learning. There's always something new, and even for me in my career, you can't
Yes.
stop. You have to grow. You have to always be aware of the new trends, and don't be scared to try something new. Because in marketing, as we started with mails, we had to go to email, we had to go to social media, we had to go, now we have AI, we have all of these various things, and we're going back to mail, which for younger people on my team is like, a mail, who gets mail? So it's never be scared of learning, and keep growing.
Yes. Yeah, be adaptive, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. Right. So thank you so much. It's very, very inspiring to listen to your stories and your journey that you have been through for your whole life. It's really eye-opening and passionate, as I can feel. Thank you so much for taking the time to share with me the stories. And I really appreciate that given your health conditions. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and please keep us updated on the transitioning as it will help us plan very properly for our upcoming edition as well. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great. I will, as soon as I have the meeting next week, and have a better timeline, I will get back to you immediately.
Thank you so much, Sonica. Yeah. Have a great day ahead.
You too.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.